forms of promotion. And when we refer to the three types of promotion, we have to answer the following questions. What is product placement? What is in-store display? What is product demonstration? And I also ask you maybe the questions related to the examples of product placement in films or maybe in video games or on TV that you can think of. And one more question related to product placement is that do you think that product placement is an effective form of advertising or not? That is the things related to the first part of Unit 6. And in Unit 6, we also have to explain the title. How do you understand the power of persuasion? So when we talk about power of persuasion here, we are talking, or maybe we are referring to the power of advertisement. It means that advertisement has the power of persuading the customer or maybe the TV commercial viewer to buy the products, or maybe they would like to use the services after they watch the TV commercial or after they watch the advertisement. So that is the power of persuasion. And we also maybe watch several maybe videos, and we also maybe talk about the different types of adverts and also about the unusual places. And we can come to the conclusion that every place can be put the advertisement, even in the toilet, even in the restroom, maybe in a car, maybe through the pen that we are using. So all or everywhere we can see the advertisement. And I also ask you about maybe the question is that, can you think of any more new unusual places where it would be possible to place advertisement? And that is the first part of Unit 6, advertising. Now we will come to the second part. That is maybe we will come to the way that they launch or deliver the advertising campaigns. Maybe we can see different types or different techniques that they use to use the advertisement. So now let's come to the second part. Now, firstly, let's look at maybe the adverts on your right first, and then after that, look at on your left hand, and then tell me, have you ever heard the name of Benetton? Have you ever heard the name, or do you know anything about the brand Benetton? Have you ever heard the name Benetton first? Mình đã bao giờ nghe đến cái tên hoặc là cái thương hiệu Benetton chưa các em? Have you ever heard the name? Now the whole class, so tell me, have you ever heard the name of Benetton? Đã bao giờ hoặc là đã nhắc đến hoặc là đã từng nghe thương hiệu Benetton chưa?
Chưa.
Not yet.
Chưa.
Alright. So if you don't know anything about Benetton, so in fact that is maybe a very famous brand name from the Great Britain, and it specializes in producing clothes. Vậy đây là một cái thương hiệu quần áo khá là nổi tiếng và chuyên về các cái thể loại quần áo mà cung cấp cho rất nhiều đơn vị, nữ này, nam này, trẻ em này đều có hết. Và với thương hiệu này thì đây là một cái thương hiệu mà mình gọi là chuyên về các loại đồ, gọi là thế nào nhỉ, đồ nỉ này, đồ bông này, vân vân. Rồi tóm lại nó là một global fashion brand. Okay. And in fact it comes from the Italy, but it can be situated in Great Britain. Okay, so that is maybe United Colors of Benetton. So in fact that is a very brand name in fashion, in clothes. And now let's look at the advert here. That is the advert of Benetton. Ở góc bên phải thì các bạn nhìn thấy đây là một hình ảnh trong chiến dịch quảng cáo của Benetton. Đó. Now, so what can you see from the advert here? What can you see from the advert? Tell me, what can you see from the advert? If you look at maybe the advert here, what can you see from the advert?
The monkey named Bonnie.
The monkey named Bonnie. So that is maybe the name of the monkey. And what can you see from the monkey? What is the monkey doing? Or maybe how is the monkey, how does the monkey feel? If we look at the picture. So if we look at the picture, can you see his red eyes? Can you see his red eye?
He seems sad.
He seemed very sad because if we look at his eye, we can see that he has red eyes. It means that maybe he is crying. Okay, now so that is the image of maybe red eyes monkey. So maybe we can guess that he is crying. So can you see any connection? Can you see any link, or maybe can you see any relationship or connection between Benetton and the image of the monkey here? Benetton specialize in fashion, in maybe selling clothes, and that is the image of maybe a crying, maybe a mother, or maybe a monkey mother, so on. So, can you see any connection between the brand name Benetton and the image that we see from the advert? Any connection? Mình có thấy được mối liên hệ nào giữa một bên là một thương hiệu chuyên về thời trang với hình ảnh một con khỉ đang khóc không? Đây là quảng quảng cáo sản phẩm của họ. Can you see any connection between them? Can you see? Now, so if I didn't say that that is the advertisement of Benetton. So if you thus only look at this advertisement, so do you think that that is the advertisement of maybe a fashion brand? So do you realize or can you realize that that is an advertisement of a fashion brand? So do you?
Hardly, yeah.
Hardly had we known, right? Nếu mà không nói thì rất là khó để nhận diện được đây chính là hình ảnh gọi là quảng bá cho cái sản phẩm quần áo đúng không? Okay, now let's come to the next advert. Mình sẽ sang một cái advert nữa. That is maybe another advert of United Color of Benetton. Now, what can you see from the picture here?
I see two children,
Two children.
two
In fact,
child, two
two
child.
children, two kids, right? What are they doing?
I think they are pooping.
Okay, I'm not sure, but maybe you are right because we can see that they are maybe sitting on a baby. We call that baby potty. Is that right? They are sitting on a baby potty. Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. And what about the complexion? Complexion, màu da thì sao? What about the complexion? One kid has
Dog skin.
Okay, so and the other is maybe we said that one child has or maybe one kid has white complexion and the other kid has maybe black complexion. So maybe they come from the two different maybe two different world, right? Okay. And if we look at that one, I think that once again we can see that there is no direct connection between the Benetton, maybe selling clothes, and the image that we see from the advert here. So in fact, there is no maybe direct connection. And if we look at this advert, it seems to be very difficult for us to think that that is the advertisement for clothes. Nhìn vào đây thì không thể biết được đây là quảng bá cho gì quần áo đúng không? Okay. Now let's look at maybe another one. Also another adverb of another color of Benetton. So that is, what can you see from the picture?
A man
Man.
with a spoon.
A spoon. Okay, now in fact, I think that firstly, if we look at the picture, we can see that that is a very muscular body from a man. Một thân hình cơ bắp của một người đàn ông đúng không? A very muscular body from a man. And then we can see that although he seemed to be a very muscular man, but he is a disabled man also. Because we can see that that is a spoon. A spoon replaced for his left hand and the other his right hand. Okay, right. So maybe in that one we can see that that is a disabled man with a very muscular body. And once again we can see that there is no direct connection between the clothes and the image of the man that we can look at from the adverbs here. So in fact, on the three adverbs, the adverbs of a muscular man, the adverbs of two kids on the baby body, or maybe the image of a crying monkey, all of them belong to the advertising campaign of United Color of Benetton, and all of the adverts that we have seen has one thing in common, that is there is no direct connection between the product that they are advertising and the image of the adverts that we can see from the advertisement. So there is no direct connection. Right. Now, my questions is that if we look at on maybe the adverts of United Color of Benetton, so do you think that the advertising campaign of United Color of Benetton were successful or not? Was the advertising campaign successful or not? Now, so Tammy, do you think that they are successful or not?
I cannot say for sure.
Okay. So do you think that why? Why do you think so? Why do you think so? Now tell me, if they think that it was successful or if they think that it was not successful, why do you think so? Now so tell me.
The images they were using were very disturbing. This is a man without clothes.
Okay, so thank you, Minduk. Now, in fact, I think that most of you, maybe we do not know it was successful or not, but I think that maybe all of us agree that when they launch this advertising campaign, it will maybe cause maybe the debate or maybe the controversies among the viewers and also the consumer. So, in fact, the purposes or the objectives of the advertisement is try to maybe raise awareness of the customer about the brand name. So in that case, maybe I think that United Color Benetton was successful at that time. Okay, so now come to the next advert. The next advert is if we look at that one, so tell me, who is being targeted in this advert and do you know which product is being advertised here? Now tell me which product is being advertised here. If we look at this advert.
Lamb. Is it lamb?
Mm, okay, the tribal man. Okay, so if we look at that one, we can see that all of them are tribal men. Okay, the tribal man. And then if we look at the way that they are maybe shaping in this picture, so can you recognize which shape is that? The position that they are standing. So to form what kind of shape? If we look at this advert.
A car.
Ah, very good one, a car. And then if you look at the maybe your right corner, so can you recognize the brand of the car?
Land Rover.
Ah, Land Rover. So we know that that is the advertisement for Land Rover car. And we can see the on maybe on the left corner that is the price of the car, right? So in fact, if we look at that one, so maybe we have to use our imaging so that we can know that that is the image of the car. And maybe on the tribal man here is maybe standing in the position of a car, right? Okay. So now my questions, that is maybe the image of the Land Rover car, right? So now my questions is that can you come to the listening part, and then after that look at the listening, and in this listening part we also have the first advertiser, the second advertiser, and then we also have to distinguish the product that they are being advertising, and then the keyword used to describe the advert. Now it is quite maybe complicated listening part, so I will require you to listen it twice. Bây giờ mình sẽ nghe 2 lần cho cô nhá, và mình sẽ điền cho cô vào cái bảng này. Cái bảng này chúng ta sẽ có các thông tin cần điền. Thứ nhất đó là advertiser, thứ hai là product, và thứ ba là các keyword sử dụng để describe the advert. So now let's listen for me twice.
Unit 6. Listening 1. Page 54. 1.
Benetton is, of course, one of the big names in modern advertising, and everyone remembers the series of shock campaigns that the company did with Oliviero Toscani in the 1990s. Now, that may have been a great way to build awareness of the Benetton company, but it certainly wasn't always a commercial success. So I think it's very interesting to see how they've changed their advertising in their new campaign. Of course, there's no direct connection between the animal in the picture and the clothes that Benetton sells, but this really is an ad that has great emotional impact. Benetton is associating its name with a cause, the protection of animals and nature, and that gives them a very good platform. This is more than just photography, it's art. It's the type of ad that people will want to put on their walls, and there's no better place for an advert than that.
2.
Creativity is at the heart of advertising, which is why I've chosen this ad. You know, I think it's a great example of just that. At first sight, it just looks like a very straightforward shot of a group of young Maasai people standing together out in the emptiness of the African plains. And you're almost left wondering what this advert could be for, because there's no obvious trace of anything connected with consumer society. But then, when you look more closely, you realize that, in fact, the people have been positioned to form the outline of a Land Rover four-wheel drive vehicle, the Freelander Maasai. I think it's a very subtle ad, because what it's saying to people is, look, this is the vehicle that the Maasai have chosen. And they've done that because they know it's a reflection of their own qualities as a tribe, strong, fearless, intrepid. So, for the target audience, this is an ad that's not only reassuring, it's also one that makes a very direct appeal to their sense of adventure.
Okay, so now tell me, after listening it twice, can you fill in on the blank?
Almost.
Almost. Okay. So can you tell me your answer?
The advertiser is Benetton.
Okay. The first advertiser is Benetton, right? Okay. And the product? And the product? The advertiser is Benetton. Number one is Benetton, and the product?
I think it is clothes.
So you think it's what?
Clothes.
What is that zoom?
For
The
now.
product?
Clothes.
Okay, close. Close. Okay, good. And the keyword used to describe the advert?
Is it art and photography?
The first one, art and photography. Are you sure? Photography.
Okay.
You think so? Art and photography?
I think it's a protection of animals.
I'm not sure about that one. Okay, I will let the art and photography here, and then after that you can check the answer with them. Okay. Now, what about number two? Number two. What about number two? What is the name of the advertiser?
It's creativity.
Land.
Land. The advertiser is only land.
Oh, I think she meant Land Rover.
Land Rover. Okay. And then what about the product?
Car.
Car. Okay, car. And what about the keyword used to describe the advert?
I think it is strong, fearless. They also mentioned it is reassuring and adventurous.
Strong, fierce. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now let's check the answer with me. Bây giờ mình sẽ nghe lại lần 3 nhá, và mình check xem là cái phần nghe này của mình các bạn đã trả lời đúng chưa nhá. Okay, now let's listen.
Unit 6. Listening 1. Page 54. 1.
Benetton is, of course, one of the big names in modern advertising, and
So I think that maybe the first one, Benetton, is maybe a correct answer, right?
everyone remembers the series of shock campaigns that the company did with Oliviero Toscani in the 1990s. Now, that may have been a great way to build awareness of the Benetton company, but it certainly wasn't always a commercial success. So I think it's very interesting to see how they've changed their advertising in their new campaign. Of course, there's no direct connection between the animal in the picture and the clothes that Benetton sells, but this really is an ad that has great emotional impact. Benetton is associating its name with a cause, the protection of animals and nature, and that gives them a very good platform. This is more than just photography, it's art.
So we can see platform more of photography, it is an art. So in fact, I think that maybe photography is not the keyword used to describe the advert, is that right?
Ad that has great emotional impact. Benetton is associating its name with a cause, the protection of animals and nature, and that gives them a very good platform. This is more than
So we can see that maybe the natural and environment protection, and then maybe we can see that that is a very good platform. Okay.
just photography, it's art. It's the type of ad that people will want to put on their walls, and there's no better place for an advert than that.
Okay, so I think that the advertiser, number one, advertise the Benetton, the product clothes. Okay, we have the correct answer, and then we have used the keywords to describe the advert. So we have emotional impact. I think that we have art, and then maybe we have platform. Okay, not photography. Okay. Now let's come to the second part, right?
2.
Creativity is at the heart of advertising, which is why I've chosen this ad. You know, I think it's a great example of just that. At first sight, it just looks like a very straightforward shot of a group of young Maasai people standing together out in the emptiness of the African plains. And you're almost left wondering what this advert could be for, because there's no obvious trace of anything connected with consumer society. But then, when you look more closely, you realize that, in fact, the people have been positioned to form the outline of a Land Rover four-wheel drive vehicle.
So it means that maybe the Land Rover four-wheel driver. Okay, so I think that we have Land Rover, the correct answer, and the product, in fact, maybe a little bit more precise, that is not the car, but maybe the four-wheel driver. Okay. Now let's go on to the next part. So maybe we have to listen to the keywords, right?
Unit 6.
Of the African plains. And you're almost left wondering what this advert could be for, because there's no obvious trace of anything connected with consumer society. But then, when you look more closely, you realize that, in fact, the people have been positioned to form the outline of a Land Rover four-wheel drive vehicle, the Freelander Maasai. I think it's a very subtle ad, because what it's saying to people is, look, this is the vehicle that the Maasai have chosen, and they've done that because they know it's a reflection of their own qualities as a tribe, strong, fearless, intrepid. So, for the target audience, this is an ad that's not only reassuring, it's also one that makes a very direct appeal to their sense of adventure.
So I think that strong, fierce, and I would like to add one more thing, that is intrepid. Okay, so that is maybe the keyword used to describe the advert here, right? So we have another one that is intrepid. So that is maybe the way to describe. Okay, so we have thus listened to the Naomi's opinions about the advert, about the two adverts, one advert from Benetton and the other adverts from Land Rover. So my questions is that, what do you think about the two adverts, or maybe what do you think about the two advertising campaigns of Benetton and Land Rover? So now let's come back to the slide. So my questions is that, what do you think about this advert of Land Rover, and what do you think about this advert of Benetton, and which advert do you prefer? Which advert do you prefer? So understand my questions. So now discuss in group the questions. Which advert do you prefer and why? That is the adverb of Benetton and the adverb of Land Rover. Okay. And also another one, that is, what are your most, or maybe what are your least favorite adverts, and how is the advertising industry regulated in your country, and what sorts of product or services cannot be advertised. Vậy là mình sẽ có 3 câu hỏi để discuss trong nhóm bây giờ nhá. Câu hỏi thứ nhất là, which adverts do you prefer? The Benetton adverts or the Land Rover's advert? The second question is, what are your most or your least favorite adverts? How is the advertising industry regulated in your country, and what kinds of product or services cannot be advertised? Okay, so now I will invite you into breakout rooms, and could you please discuss the 3 questions? Okay, so now please come to the breakout rooms.